Yubel is finally here and I'm so excited. It's my favorite deck right now. So let's go over some lists and some combos. This card, by the way, is the reason this deck is so crazy and we actually got it in Master Duel. Look at that QCR. Fuck! So pretty important about this video, I'm going to give you 3 lists, not just one, because I think Yubel can be built in some pretty interesting ways. And so I'm going to first give you the most normal list. This is the type of list that you could honestly go get anywhere. Every deck profile is practically the same. And I think this is about going to be like the standard normal list. Then I'm going to give you the more casual list, which is going to be more fun with the super poly loving defender type of stuff that quite some people are into, you know, but I think it's definitely suboptimal if you want to get a little more competitive. And then finally, I'm going to give you the hot take list, which is the list I actually think is far more optimal, has more one-card starters, less bricks and so forth, but a bunch of people disagree with me on whether that's optimal or not. I'm starting, of course, with this one because anyone who doesn't actually listen and just clicks through videos will see this one go, oh yeah, that looks fine, and then clicks off. If I start with the hot take list, of course I would be getting crying comments again. Okay, so the normie list. First of all, we have triple Samsara Lotus. This is of course going to be the one card starter of the deck. So you can tribute this card, special summon one Yubel monster from your deck, that's going to be Spirit, and then during your opponent's turn it also has a type of negation effect, and then during the end phase, if you control a Yubel, it can also come back to your field. A lot of cool stuff, but honestly, mostly the first effect is going to come up, that in certain weirder game states or post hand traps, the other ones might come up. But most big combo boards don't have this in the end, except for if you lock yourself under Muckraker, which is something that I don't think we do in this current iteration of the deck. That being said, we could put it in, you know, maybe it's follow-up, but it doesn't really come up, I think, just yet right now. Then we have Grave Squirmer. So this card is cracked. This card plays through hand traps like it's butter. It is extension, it is ceiling increase, it is such a crazy card. It says if you control a fiend monster, quick effect, special summon this card from your hand, then you can destroy one Yubel or one monster that mentioned it in your monster zone. So that means if your opponent goes like an Imperm or a Spirit of Yubel, you can go Chain Squirmer, kill your Spirit of Yubel, dodge the Imperm, kind of like Fire King Kirin, but you can also choose to not destroy, and then it's just a free extender. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon a fiend monster with 0 attack or defense from your hand or graveyard, so it also extends. It is so crazy. This is like the reason to play the deck, in my opinion. Now later on, when we get stuff like Fiendsmith, this card becomes slightly less important because you still, you know, then you have plenty of extension. But right now, this card is fucking insane. Then we have triple Maxi because Maxi is broken. Then we have 2 Gamma, as you can see, a driver in Gamma. Overall, the reason is if you go like normal Samsara effect, then you can get ashed there and sometimes your turn just ends. Here, you can just go Chain Gamma, get fucked bozo. So I love that. And of course, it can also stop Maxi, which is crazy. Also, if you go like a Nightmare Throne, add a card, or Gates, add a card, and you get drolled there, you can Gamma that as well. If they ash the 1/1, you can Gamma that as well. If you go second and you go Maxi, they go ash, and then you have Gamma for that. That is also crazy. So I definitely think this card is like very mandatory. Then we have triple Beckoning Beast. So this card gets you opening of the Spirit Gates. And opening of the Spirit Gates, more on that later, but that's like a crazy extender and follow-up and everything this deck really wanted. And then we have triple Ash because Maxi is broken. We have 1 Sharvara. This is part of all the Unchained style combos this deck can do. By the way, yes, this extra deck is too big, but it's so that you can choose which cards you actually want to run if you have them or if you don't have them. Then 1 Yubel. Some people want to play more, but really it's just a brick. This deck already has a bit of a bricking problem because you play a lot of them. In my optimized list, you run way less, but normal lists just run a billion bricks. So you don't want to have even more. Then we have triple Spirit of Yubel. So this is the bread and butter of the deck. It cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no damage from battles involving this card. If it's destroyed, special summon one of your Yubel that is banished or in your hand, deck, or graveyard. So what's really cool about that is even if your opponent like banishes your Yubel, you can just summon it back. And then you can only use each of the following effects of Spirit Yubel once per turn. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned, add to your hand or set 1 spell/trap from your deck that mentions Yubel. So this plays around Droll because it sets to the field rather than add if you want to. It is also battle protection randomly, but the first effect is what it's really about. If it's destroyed, you can special summon one of your Yubel, and that part is not once per turn. You can destroy this thing as many times as you want and it will just keep on popping out Yubels. It is absolutely crazy. You see 3 in this build because this is like the normal-ish build. It plays a bit better through certain hand traps, but the issue is that you play way more bricks because because for all intents and purposes, this is a brick. You know, this is a level 10. You can't get it out of your hand unless you pass to your opponent, at which point they should just be winning. So yeah, this you know, 3 because this is the normal build. 1 Terror Incarnate. This is a brick. But so the way this works is that if you Nightmare Throne, it says once per turn if a face-up Yubel monster you control leaves the field by card effect, add to your hand 1 Yubel monster from your deck, grave, or banish, whose original level is 1 higher or 1 lower, then special summon it. So this is a level 11, whilst your spirit is a level 10. So if your spirit gets popped on your field, then it floats into a Yubel with its own effect and into a terror with a Nightmare Throne. That gives you 1 more body, and then you can keep on going. You can also Squirmer pop your own Yubel, that special summons terror, and that gives you 1 more material to make Phantom of Yubel. So all sorts of little things where this card can come up, but the question is it worth having a brick in your hand 1 in 10 games? To me, no. To most people, yes. Then we have 1 for 1. So this card is a little controversial because some people are like, if you go second and you hand trap your opponent, you probably don't have things to discard for this card. So sometimes you can't even activate it, and beyond that, it's a painful -1. The thing is that this card is both extension and starter, and also plays through hand traps. So in my opinion, you need to play it. It is far too powerful. The fact that you can go like normal summon Dark Beckoning Beast, normal summon Samsara. Samsara effect, you get Ash there. Very often your turn would end there. Being able to then go 1 for 1, get Squirmer, boom, you're through, is crazy. Or if you go like normal summon Dark Beckoning Beast, add Gates, you get Drolled there, 1 for 1, special summon Squirmer, and then you still combo. Like, that is really, really important to me. Now in Master Duel, Droll is going to be less played because Maxi somewhat conflicts with it, but still, just things to think about. Now we have Nightmare Throne. This is the card. This card is broken. When this card is activated, take 1 Fiend monster with 0 attack or defense from your deck and either add it to your hand or destroy it. So that means you can add Samsara, you can add Squirmer, you can add Beckoning Beast, you can add Spirit, you could even add Yubel or Terror if you love bricking so much. But you can also destroy, which means you can go like Nightmare Throne effect, destroy Spirit from your deck, Spirit effect, special summon Yubel, and then maybe do some other stuff with that, you know, make a Phantom and things like that. So this card, really crazy. And then the second effect, if a face-up Yubel monster you control leaves the field by card effect, add to your hand 1 Yubel monster from your deck or graveyard or banishment, and special. So again, you pop your Spirit with your Nightmare Pain, more on that later. You get yourself a Yubel and a Terror, and then you get your Squirmer from the Nightmare Pain. It's a lot of free value. Now, what you can also do with Throne is that if you have a Phantom in grave, let's say you only play 2, and you pop your Spirit, then you can put a Phantom back into your extra deck thanks to Throne, which is pretty cool. It's like a recursion. Next, we have Opening of the Spirit Gates. This card is insane. It's like this was designed for Yubel. This card says when this card is activated, add 1 Uriah, Hamon, or Raviel, or 1 monster that mentions any of those cards from your deck to your hand. So you can add Dark Beckoning Beast because it mentions that. And then another effect, once per turn, you can discard 1 card, special summon 1 Fiend monster with 0 attack or defense from your graveyard, which means all of your cards. You know, all of your cards are Fiends with 0 attack and defense. And then finally, once per turn, if you control level 10 monster, you can add 1 continuous spell from your grave to your hand. Guess what this deck is like built on? It has Opening of the Spirit Gates, which is a continuous. So if you discard an opening to use an opening revive, you can add back the opening once you have any Yubel monster on your board. And then if they get rid of your Nightmare Pain, opening can also add that back. And more importantly even, this card has soft once per turns. You can only activate 1 overall per turn, but the next turn, if you activate another opening, you can do multiple revives with your 2 openings. So this card is just insane for a deck. Next, we have Nightmare Pain. So we're running 2 in this build. This says during your main phase, you can destroy 1 dark monster in your hand or face-up field, and if you do, add 1 Yubel or 1 card that mentions it from your deck to your hand, except Nightmare Pain. So you're usually going to be popping Spirit, and then Spirit is going to summon out Yubel, and this is going to add Squirmer, and then you combo. This also has an interesting thing where your opponent has to attack Yubel monsters. So if you end on something like Phantom of Yubel plus SP or Phantom of Yubel plus Apollousa, your opponent can't just go to battle phase and attack over the Apollousa. They have to attack the Yubel monster, and the Yubel monster won't die. Then also this says your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving your Yubel monsters. So this allows you, if your opponent has like a 3000 attack monster, your Yubels can just keep on attacking it, and then it will kill your opponent without you even clearing the board. Then we have 2 Call By because Maxi is broken, Cross Out because Maxi is broken, Triple Imperm because Fire is still best deck in my opinion, and then a Chamber. Now you can also play the other Unchained Trap card, which is a pop, but in my opinion it is better to be able to link with your Unchained Soul of Rage and hide it in the graveyard for if your opponent plays a board breaker, and then only get it out when you really want to get it out so you don't randomly lose to really weird stuff. So that is the main deck. Now for the extra. Again, this is 20 cards because I want you to be able to cut cards that you don't have or choose what you think is more important, you know. So first of all, we have triple Phantom of Yubel. This could be 2 if you have other cards and you want to find the room. But I personally do find that the third comes up in weird grind games. So this card must be special summoned from your extra deck by shuffling the above cards from your hand, field, and or graveyard into the deck or extra deck. Cannot be used as fusion material. So if you have like a Yubel and a Dark Beckoning Beast in your graveyard, shuffle them back, boom, you have a new body. If you've played Vanadium, this is like Vicious Astrolaud. Also, you can summon this multiple times a turn. So you can use a Phantom of Yubel to negate a hand trap and then make a new Phantom of Yubel to have one on your end board as well. This is also how you will sometimes come to the third, because you may use one to negate a hand trap, make the second to stop their turn, and then they pass back to you, and then you now want to make another one as protection. So the third can come up in that situation. Also cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no damage from battles involving this card. This is very typical Yubel stuff. And then when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you contribute this card. The activated effect becomes your opponent destroys one Yubel monster in their hand, deck, or field. So this is changing your opponent's effect into this effect. So it's kind of like a negate, but not really. So yeah, 2 or 3, depending on if you have the UR material, if you have the room, and if there's other cards you want to run. Then Djinn Buster. Now, this card got a little worse thanks to Phantom, because Phantom does kind of the same thing. But I still really like Djinn, because it's going to allow you to play around Ash Blossom a little bit better. Also, if your opponent max sees you, you could go like Dark Beckoning Beast, normal summon another Dark Beckoning Beast, because you can normal summon twice with that thing, and then you can make this, you give them 1 draw, and you still have a negate. So I do like the idea of still running this card regardless. Then we have the 2 cannons. So these cannons are really cool for OTKing. Any 2 Yubel monsters is OTK on an empty board because of that, but I don't know if you have the room, and I don't know if it's necessary, so up to you. Then we have 1 Typhon. Like I explained before, this is just like a weird, randomly break the board almost type of card. Can come up. It's also a Fiend, so even if you're Fiend locked, it can be in handy. 1 Almirage. This card is very important to me, because sometimes you go like normal summon Dark Beckoning Beast, they imperm that, but you already had a Gates. So then you can go Dark Beckoning, change into Almirage, Gates, revive the Dark Beckoning, and now you can still do your extra normal summon Samsara and combo off from there. So the ability, or also if you go like normal summon Samsara, they imperm that, you go Gates, turn Samsara into Almirage, revive Samsara, and now you can use the effect again. So this is kind of like a great way to play through impermanence. Then we have Duel Little Chimera. This is part of a combo with Promethean Princess that I can show you. 1 Nightmare Phoenix. This sometimes comes up to get yourself out of the Fiend lock with Charvara if you're trying to go for Oppo. And it's also a way to get out of your own Princess lock sometimes. Unchained Soul of Rage. This is one of the best end board pieces imaginable. It lets you link with an opponent's monster, and then afterwards you go into SP. So you remove a body with Soul of Rage, you remove another thing with SP, and then you still have another SP banish. So that's 3 interrupts in 1 card. Then there's Muckraker. This card is like follow-up. It can revive Fiends, but it locks you into Fiends, meaning it locks you out of some of your better cards, like Duel Little Chimera after Princess, Oppo, all stuff like that. So I'm not a huge fan of it if you don't have to make it. You know, obviously it's really good if you get put into a corner and then suddenly you can Muckraker and revive, but if you are forced to make it, you can no longer access code either, so it's kind of like an awkward card. Post Fiendsmith, it's like hyper necessary, then it's part of a lot of lines, but right now it's not really, you know, it's still pretty good. Up to you, you can see what you cut, but if I have to say like which cards are quote-unquote cuttable, it's definitely gonna be like the 3rd Phantom, the Djinn, the Gustav cards, the Typhon, and the Muckraker. I think those are like gonna be the easier cut cards. Maybe this as well. Then we have 2 Yama. I think pre-Fiendsmith 2 Yama is pretty important. This gives you like a lot of follow-up. Also, like, you will often use a Yama when making your board turn 1, and then your opponent will try to play a little bit through it. They will probably fail because Yubel is the best deck ever. And then you want to be able to make the 2nd Yama, because that 2nd Yama is going to allow you to go into Anguish, to go into access code and kill your opponent. So that's why, in my opinion, you want to be playing 2. Then we have SP Little Knight, of course, very important, like I explained with Soul of Rage. Then we have Anguish. This card links with your opponent's board, but on your own turn. So this is, like I said, this is going to help you make an access code, but it can also help you make this thing. And I really like this thing for randomly clearing through boards. It is not one of the most popular cards, but it's definitely an enjoyable card, and it can also play very well Yubel into stun boards. You know, a lot of cards in Yubel are anti-monster effect, and so if your opponent is playing a trap deck, being able to make an Unchained Abomination and just start popping stuff all over the place is really nice. Then we have Promethean Princess. Yeah, I know it's a fire card, but this card can actually be part of the combo through Sharvara because, funnily enough, this is also a fiend. Then we have Appaloosa. This is, you know, a broken card, get some negates. Unchained Abomination, like I said, just randomly clearing boards, really nice, and an access code for the OTK. So this is the normie list again. Now I'm gonna go for the more casual list for if you really love the super poly playstyle. So this is a more casual list. I'm not gonna go over every single card, but you will basically notice that I put in the 3 super poly. If you know or don't know, Yubel the Loving Defender says it can be made with 1 Yubel monster and 1+ effect monsters on the field. This means you can super poly 1 Yubel of yours and your opponent's entire board. That is pretty cool. Now, of course, a good opponent is just gonna make sure that a Yubel card never hits your board. You know, they will Appaloosa your Samsara, they will Appaloosa your Spirit if you destroy it with Nightmare Throne. So this card, like, isn't really resolving against good players usually, but it is really fun. So because of the super poly, you also notice you have Garura and Muddragon, because like I said, you won't always get the Loving Defender. And then another card we are adding here is Eternal Favorite. So this card says once per turn you can activate one of these effects, but you can only use each effect of Eternal Favorite once per turn. Special summon one of your Yubel monsters that is banished or in your graveyard. Neither player can activate cards or effects when that monster is special summoned. So this gets back a Spirit or a Yubel or something like that. But then the second effect, if you control Yubel, discard 1 card and send this face-up card to the graveyard. Fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either field as material. Either field. This means for all intents and purposes, this is basically a super polymerization. So you can set up the basic small board with a Yubel card and then set an Eternal Favorite thanks to stuff like Nightmare Pain. And then your opponent starts playing, you just let them play, and at one point you go Eternal Favorite, fuse away their entire board and make Loving Defender. Is this gonna happen? Maybe. It's cute, but it requires you to put Yubel stuff on your end board, which I'm not a very big fan of, especially because if your opponent is playing Yubel, suddenly they can super poly you as well if they're playing the more casual build, and now you're just sacking each other with super poly, and like, not a fan of that. I would much rather make like a big combo board and then put a Phantom of Yubel there, because notice this card says cannot be used as fusion materials, so your opponent can't even super poly that shit, and then you're a bit safer and you're still winning anyway if that board resolves, and their super poly won't even be live. But if you want to have more fun, I guess, with Eternal Favorite, you absolutely can. So this is going to be the build if you want to have a little bit more casual fun with Yubel, in my opinion. Now we get to the hot take list. This is the list where people disagree, and I don't give a fuck. This is optimal. So everything is kind of the same, you would think, but we are playing only 2 Spirit, because Spirit is a bricky ass card, and we have plenty of ways to get to it anyway, especially because we have Gamma in this deck. So this way you're gonna brick less on those big bodies in your hand, you know, Spirits and Yubels and all of that crap just sitting there rotting away. And in engine, you can still reach the card. You will also notice a very controversial card, Piri Rice Map. Now, you could play Piri Rice Map or Pot of Prosperity, but Pot of Prosperity is at 1 in this game, and this extra deck is very tight. I do not like having to get rid of my either OTK or half my board, depending on how your opponent hand traps you, just for a prosp, which is usually gonna get you Samsara or Beck, you know, anyway. So is Pot sometimes gonna be more useful? Sure, but I don't like the inflexibility. So Piri Rice Map is controversial. It says at the start of your main phase, add a monster with 0 attack from your deck to your hand, but half your life points. After adding it to your hand until the end of the next turn after this was activated, you cannot activate the added monster's effect until you normal summon that monster. So pretty simply what this means is, if you open Samsara plus map, you go map search Beckoning Beast, normal Beckoning Beast, and now you can use its effect. Boom. If you open Beckoning Beast plus map, you go map search Samsara, normal summon Beckoning Beast, normal summon Samsara, boom, you can use its effect as well. Just like that, you have far more 1-card starters. Rather than being stuck with triple Samsara, triple Beckoning, triple Throne, and 1/1/1, which is 10 starters, you now play 13 starters. And these are also semi-extenders because you're gonna have more pushes in your hand, and more importantly, anytime Piri Rice Map searches one of these 2, Throne doesn't have to search one of these 2, which is also very, very useful, you know, because if you open something like Beckoning Beast plus Throne, and you go normal summon Beckoning Beast, they imperm that. Now your Throne has to search Squirmer or you're not comboing. Whereas if you had Period Ice Map on top, Period Ice Map would have gotten you your Samsara. Your Throne can get you your Squirmer, so your Squirmer and Beckoning Beast go into Yama. Squirmer brings back Beckoning Beast, normal summon Samsara, and your combo is way, way bigger. So I like how this is kind of Snake Eyes-ish, where you have more pushes through hand traps while also having more one-card starters. Now you could say, oh, but half my life points. Look, in Yu-Gi-Oh, if your opponent can play and you cannot, you lose. There are very, very, very few situations where you are going to win the game after passing on nothing. So whether your life points are at 4,000 or 8,000 doesn't really matter. They could be at 8,000 or at 1 for all I care. Of course, a little bit of a hyperbole. You don't want your opponent normal summoning something and just pushing, but you know, your life points aren't that important. Another cool thing is that this means we don't have to play that much Nightmare Pain. You could say, oh, but Nightmare Pain is so good, the battle damage reflection, blah, 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 doesn't matter. You know, the most important thing is that this is part of a combo, but by itself, it's not doing anything. Nightmare Pain plus Beckoning Beast isn't even doing that much. Nightmare Pain plus Squirmer isn't even doing that much. Nightmare Pain really only is great with Spirit. And, you know, do you want to open 2-card combos? I don't think so. You want to have 1-card combos. This is modern Yu-Gi-Oh! So yeah, this is the type of build I will be playing. Now, for the extra deck, I'm not entirely sure yet what we're doing. One thing I was also considering is Sprite Elf, because Beckoning Beast is a level 2. So maybe there's a world where we play like IP Masquerena, Sprite Elf, maybe even a Nightmare Unicorn, so you can do SP plus Unicorn, maybe a way bigger combo with Sprite Elf and IP, but that's something we'll have to figure out as we go on. Another really cool thing about Sprite Elf is that if we do the Gamma thing, now the Gamma turns into a free interrupt instead of being a relatively empty body. Also, interestingly, if you're a budget player and you can't afford all the Nightmare Thrones, you can just play some Superior Ice Map. Since I'm not playing Terror, the second effect of Nightmare Throne doesn't really come up beyond shuffling back the Phantom. With that being said, let's now go into some combos. So for the combo, I will be using Yubel Normie because I imagine a lot of people will be using the Terror stuff. And then once you are enlightened, you can try without it. So this hand is pretty spicy. I will say I am improvising. So let's see what happens. Opening of the Spirit Gates by itself, by the way, is not combo if you don't play Chaos Summoning Beast, which is a brick. So we are going to start, in my opinion, by activating Nightmare Throne. And in this specific hand, we're going to play around Ash on Samsara. I think most people are still going to let Nightmare Throne just go. And so we're going to destroy Spirit. Boom. And then Spirit is going to activate. And then we're going to get Yubel out. Okay. Now we're going to activate opening of the Spirit Gates. We're going to get a Beckoning Beast to our hand. Then Beckoning Beast is going to activate its effect. It's going to get a Spirit Gates to hand. Now we are going to link off the Beckoning Beast and the Yubel into Yama. Now, one note about Yama here, I'm making it just to show you, but since you have Sharvara in your hand, maybe sometimes you won't even need the Yama. So now that we have this set up, we're going to make a Phantom of Yubel before they can Nibiru us, because we only summon 3 times, Yubel, Dark Beckoning, and Yama. So Phantom can be made by just shuffling back this Yubel and this Beckoning Beast. You want to keep the Spirit of Yubel in your graveyard. So we're going to get the Phantom, boom. Now next, we are going to activate opening of the Spirit Gates. We're going to discard a card. It's going to be this second opening. And we're going to get back the Spirit of Yubel. Now, effect of Spirit of Yubel, we are going to get our Nightmare Pain to the field. And now, because we have a level 10, we can use the other effect of opening of the Spirit Gates. We can add a continuous spell back from the graveyard. So we discarded this and now we just get it back, meaning next turn, if they somehow clear this, we have another one ready. Then we're going to activate Nightmare Pain. Now, if we had Varudras in the game, there might be a world where you like try to get your Yama off the board, but you play into Nib in the process. So I wouldn't personally do that. We're going to just Nightmare Pain and kill the Spirit. And then we're going to add a Grave Squirmer. And now we have both Throne and Spirit popping off. So we're going to Throne. We're going to Spirit. Honestly, I have so many bodies now, I don't even know what to do with them. I'm pretty sure you can reach the ceiling of the deck without even summoning this Terror. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna see where we get, but I don't even think it's necessary in this hand. We'll see. Maybe there's like a world where you can get like Oppo with Princess. So now we get our Terror out. Okay, let's see what we can do next. So we are going to change the Yubel and the Yama, I think. Let's get Yama and Yubel Yubel into grave to make this Soul of Rage. Yup. And now let's activate Grave Squirmer. Let's get our Grave Squirmer going here. We don't destroy a card. Let's see what happens if we make an Oppo here. Yeah, let's do that. So this has 2 materials, this and this. So we're going to make an Oppo for 3, just like that. Yup. Missed the timing. That's fine. Cool that they tell you that. We're going to activate Squirmer from the graveyard. It is going to special out Spirit. Remember, it's not a once per turn. So once we pop this, we will once again be able to summon out a Yubel again. We're going to destroy the Spirit, just like that. And now Spirit and Yama trigger. So we're going to do Yama and Spirit. And then we can summon out first the Yubel and then the other card. It doesn't really matter that much. Destroy a card. No. Then we make the Promethean Princess out of Spirit, Yubel, and Sharvara. Just like that. Let's put it down here. Okay. Then Sharvara is gonna trigger, setting our chamber, just like that. Then our princess is going to bring back our Sharvara. And now we can make Dual Little Chimera out of Sharvara and Princess and place it here. Boom, little kitty cat. Okay, so this is the board. This board is cracked. What do we have? First of all, we have 3 monster negates in the form of Appaloosa. Then we have 1 monster negate in the form of Phantom of Yubel. We have a Dual Little Chimera, which is a fire that keeps live our Promethean Princess in the graveyard, which is another special summon destroy. And this also means, by the way, that we're not losing to like Dark Ruler no more or Droplet, because that's a graveyard interaction, right? Now, when this Dual Little Chimera gets destroyed by Princess, it will add back our Sharvara from the graveyard, because that's a fire for follow-up. And we also have a chamber that can revive our Soul of Rage, which will link with our opponent, then make an SP, banish another card of theirs, and then the SP will be yet another banish. So how many interactions is that? 3 from Appo, a Princess, a Phantom, and then Soul of Rage is 3 more. That's 8 cards. Just like that. 8 cards. We still have 3 cards in hand, and we already hard drew the Sharvara. So normally you would have 4 cards in your hand, and this board, 8 interactions. 8 interactions basically out of 2 cards. That is wild. And you get this by opening exactly Throne plus opening of the Spirit Gates. And remember, you were safe from Nibiru thanks to Phantom of Yubel. Now let's try another combo. Okay, so now we don't have Throne, so we won't be able to utilize the Terror extension. Let's see where we get this time. Let's start with a Dark Beckoning Beast. We would love for them to imperm this because we already have a Gates in our hand. So it's going to add our Spirit Gates, and then we're going to activate opening of the Spirit Gates, getting ourselves another Dark Beckoning Beast. And now we're going to go Dark Beckoning Beast, get that second normal summon. We're going to go into Yama. Boom, just like that. And then this Yama is going to get us our Sharvara. Let's go. Okay. Now we're going to activate opening of the Spirit Gates. We are going to discard the Spirit from our hand to get back the Spirit itself. Now, the reason we can do that is because we already had a legal target in graveyard in the form of Dark Beckoning Beast. Then Spirit of Yubel is going to activate. It's going to get us a Nightmare Pain. We're going to set it to the field. Then Nightmare Pain is going to activate. We're going to use its effect to destroy Spirit of Yubel. Going to get ourselves a Squirmer. Then Spirit of Yubel effect to get our Yubel to the board. Then we're going to special summon Squirmer. We're not going to destroy a card, even though we probably could just make Terror that way, but who cares? Again, I'm improvising. I'm playing this deck so much in the TCG, and I'm already testing with Fiendsmith, and I'm not even used anymore to like these tiny combos, but I'm sure we get somewhere, you know? So we make Appaloosa. Also, interestingly, no longer caring about the Fiend Lock is so funny. Now we make a Phantom as extra protection. We're going to shuffle back the Yubel and a Beckoning Beast into Phantom here. You know, if they have Imperm Nib, too bad for them. Now we go Squirmer, getting back the Spirit of Yubel. Now we're going to go Sharvara, destroying the Spirit. And now Yama plus Spirit will trigger. Bada beam, bada boom. The only thing I dislike about this deck here is that we don't have Arudras, so if they evenly us, like, we're kind of down bad. Yubel, yup. And then this brings back, I guess, Spirit really matter. Destroy a card, nope. Then we make Soul of Rage out of Yubel and Sharvara. Summoning the Soul of Rage, just like that. Then the Sharvara is going to trigger, setting our chamber. Then we're going to make the Promethean Princess out of Spirit and Rage. Bada beam, bada boom. Then our Princess is going to bring back our Sharvara, just like that. that. And now we make a Duel Little Chimera out of the Princess and the Sharvara. And we get the little kitty cat. So what board is this? Oh! It's the exact same board as the previous one. And we didn't use Terror. That is crazy. Wait, you mean to tell me we didn't use Terror? Wow! So just like that, we have 3 cards. Now, to be fair, this time, I suppose we have 1 card less in our hand. So maybe that's what Terror did. But yeah, still the same board, basically. This is, again, 2-card combo. The 1-card combo is going to be slightly smaller. Ah, so now we're finally down bad. So this is something you're going to have often. If you don't play Period Ice Map, we're going to just do the Dark Beckoning Beast combo, which is much, much weaker, of course, because we don't have access to our Yubel engine. And that's going to happen if you don't play cards that search your Yubel engine. So we're going to get Dark Beckoning Beast and get Gates. Now, after Fiendsmith, it is still going to be full Yubel combo and everything. But right now, you're down bad. You can't. So opening of the Spirit Gates gets us our other Beckoning Beast, just like that. Again, this is just 1 card, the Dark Beckoning Beast. That means your other cards should be hand traps, which, as you can see, they are. This does scoop to basically every hand trap in the game. You know, that's what happens with weak 1-card combos. We get our Yama out just like that. And then our Yama activates. Get our Sharvara out. Then we're going to activate opening of the Spirit Gates. We're going to discard the extra dead card. It's going to give back our Beckoning Beast. Then we are going to make the Soul of Rage out of the Beckoning Beast. So get ourselves the Soul of Rage right here. Then we are going to activate Sharvara, killing the Soul of Rage. And then our Yama and Soul of Rage will trigger. So Yama first to play around Bell, I guess, though they should have used it before. And then Soul of Rage is going to add back our follow-up, which is pretty cool. Though to be fair, it's not real follow-up because you can't activate gates if all your Beckoning Beasts are out like they are here. But normally you don't open 2 Beckoning Beasts and no other way to play, right? Right? Surely. So then we get back our Soul of Rage. Destroy a card? Absolutely not. And then we're going to make Princess out of the Sharvara and the Soul of Rage. Get our Princess right here, the big lady. And then we are going to activate Sharvara to set the chamber. Set chamber right here. Then Princess is going to activate to bring back Sharvara. And then we make Duel Little Chimera out of those 2. So as you can see, without Yubel cards, we are pretty sad. We are pretty down bad, but we still have 4 interrupts. Together with, of course, all our cards in our hand, and we even add back the follow-up. What do we have? First of all, we have Duel Little Chimera with Promethean Princess. That means your opponent special summons a monster, you can Princess, pop your own Duel Little Chimera, pop a monster of theirs, add back Sharvara for follow-up. And we also have Chamber, which is going to revive our Soul of Rage, link with one of their monsters, make an SP, banish another card, and an SP is another banish. Now, one important thing about this board, you have to Chamber first. Chamber Soul of Rage has to happen first. Why? Because if you activate the Promethean Princess interrupt, you are locked under fire. So now you can't revive your Soul of Rage and you can't summon your SP. That's why it is so crucial you Soul of Rage first. Now you could say, oh, but my Duel Little Chimera, add back my Sharvara. I can pop my own Princess, then I'm out of my Fire Lock and I can get back my Rage. You can get back your Rage. However, Sharvara Fiend locks you. So then you can't do SP anymore. So for this reason, you want to do your full Soul of Rage thing first and then do your Promethean. It's annoying that you're locked like that, but it's the only way to use your interrupts. So yeah, that is the 1-card Beckoning combo. Now, I really hope I get to do the 1-card Samsara combo, but if you only play 3 of those fucks, that's pretty fucking hard. Maybe we open it this time. I don't know. I hate this build. Ah! Fuck! So we open Terror, the dog shit brick. So now it's not even live anymore, unless we do weird phantom things with it first. Okay, so this time we're going to ignore the fact that we have Throne. We're just going to do a Samsara combo. Just ignore Throne is even there, but that will be easy because Terror is in our hand anyway. We can shuffle it back, sure. We're just doing Samsara here, okay? We are adding Samsara. Ignore the other cards in my hand. All of these are hand traps now. Okay, we normal summon Samsara. Samsara effect. Then Samsara is going to get our Spirit of Yubel. Our Spirit of Yubel is going to activate. It's going to get Nightmare Pain. Again, we can't be Droll just yet. Pretend we open Samsara only. This was set to the field, not an ad. So then we Nightmare Pain effect. And we are going to pop our Spirit on the field. It's going to add a Squirmer, which we pretend we don't have yet. And then the Spirit Spirit is going to activate, specialing out the Yubel. Then we're going to activate Squirmer to special summon out, and we won't destroy a card. Now, in theory, I suppose you could Squirmer, pop your Yubel, get your Terror out, get another potential body for Phantom. Is it? Are you not gonna miss Feints? I don't remember. Fuck it. Okay, then we go into Yama. So Squirmy Boy plus Yama, just like that. So now this is, I believe, our 5th summon, because it was Samsara, Spirit, Yubel, Squirmer, Yama. Okay, if they nib us here, we do not care. We will still combo. However, if they don't nib us here, they never can, because we are now able to do Phantom. Now, this is another reason why you probably would not want to do the pop Yubel get Terror there, because then you don't have a clean Yama line anymore. So you would actually be worse off using Terror there. Okay, so we're going to put back Samsara and Yubel. We're going to pretend like we didn't draw all this bricky garbage. And with all, I mean 1. Then we have Phantom. We're going to activate Squirmer. So now we're safe from nib again. We're going to get a Spirit out, just like that. We're going to activate Sharvara, popping Spirit. So this is pretty sad because we won't get the Princess setup here, but I suppose that is fine. We're going to Soul of Rage out of Yubel and Sharvara here, just like that. Bada beam, bada boom. So this is definitely safer for nib, yeah. I think there's a world where you had one more body to make, like, you could make like a fake Phantom at one point to get one more body to make your board bigger with the 1-card combo, but in the process lose to nib. So we have Oppo here, 2 materials, Yama, 2 materials, yup. And then we make our Appaloosa just like that for 2 materials this time. So if you open only Samsara and you want to play around Nibiru the cleanest, so you don't do the Yubel pop into Terror, your end board will be the Abominable Chamber for the Rage Revive, an Oppo for 2, and a Phantom for 1. Just 1 Samsara. You still have 4 cards in your hand. That's pretty good. So those are like the main combos you want to know. You know, the 1 Samsara, the 1 Beckoning, and then the combinations. And of course, if you open Throne and you don't open Terror, hee hee ha ha, then you can also have 1 more body in this combo, and then this combo gets bigger. But again, Yubel is like a complex type of deck where every single card you open differently is going to make a wildly different board, and being able to navigate that and through hand traps as well is what separates like an okay Yubel player from a really good one. This is the combo. Of course, it's way more exciting if you have the big one, and I'm actually excited for us to get Varudras because that's an Omni negate, so then we don't lose to like the weird breakers. Because if you recall the board previously, the 2-card combo, if your opponent Change of Hearts your Oppo there, you are in trouble, whereas post Varudras you don't give a fuck. That's the deck. I'm super excited for it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.